Hello friends, and welcome back to the Mothership. Today we are smoking up our very own stuffed chicken breasts. Let's get started. Now the first thing we want to do is prep our internal mixture, which in our case is going to be spinach and cheese. Now I was looking for cheeses and I was going to go with cheddar, and when I was at my grocery store I saw this sucker, which is called Vampire Slayer, which I'm assuming is just garlic cheddar. But I thought it was kind of fun, and it was on sale, so we're going to go with this. So any kind of cheese will work. I would go with a harder cheese. It'll keep it from melting, but in reality, they're all going to melt completely. So I'm going to use this garlic Slayer cheese, and I'm just going to cut it into thin slices, and then try and cut it up as much as I can. You could shred it. That is entirely possible. But I'm just going to take this route. Now, as far as the spinach, what we really want to do is just cut it into smaller pieces, because obviously these giant leaves are not going to do it for us. So just rough chop, get everything nice and cut up a little bit. Want it smaller, nothing too crazy. Now a lot of these recipes similar to this will have you using cream cheese, and that kind of makes it a little bit spreadable. So I understand the reasoning behind it. I don't really want to do cream cheese here, but you absolutely could. That'll make more like a paste, and then you can just kind of paint it in the inside of our chicken. But I want to go with some cheddar, so I'm going to cut these into little cubes. Like I said, everything is going to melt when it's in there long enough. And I'm just going to disperse it in with the spinach. Perfect. Now what we have here are some nice and chunky chicken breasts. First thing you want to do is trim off anything funky, like some of this weird fat and stuff. I'm just going to pull that right off. In general, these look pretty good. Then what we want to do here is we want to cut in on the side and make a little pocket. We don't want to go all the way through, just want to go deep enough where we can kind of get our hands in and kind of pull it open just a little bit more. Like I said, I don't want to go all the way through, but this little pocket is where we're going to stuff all of our spinach and cheese. Perfecto. And with our mixture, just kind of jam it in there. Perfect. Now at this point you could probably just salt and pepper them, put some seasoning on, whatever you want, and throw them onto the grill. But I'm going to take these a step further and I'm going to bread these suckers. But to be able to bread them, I do want to have a little bit of barbecue vibe on here. So we need to get together a rub. I'm going to use my all-purpose rub. If you have a favorite rub that you want to use, you can skip ahead, but let's throw together that rub. First we need about a quarter cup of brown sugar, paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, ground mustard, and kosher salt. Give this a nice rough mix together. Now this next process is kind of imprecise. What I have here is some breadcrumbs. I'm just going to put a generous amount of our rub in here, mix it in with the breadcrumbs. And as you can see, I have just some eggs that I've whipped up. What we're going to do is take one of our chicken breasts, coat it in the egg, and then you know the drill. Get all of this breadcrumbing on there, and then put it back on the side. And complete it for everything. So if you're wondering how it looks, it'll look something like so. Get it nice and in there. You just gotta make sure to hold everything together, right? So that doesn't happen, because we lost some of our internal goodness. But this should be fine. Nice and breaded. And then complete for everything. If you want more seasoning, feel free to add more seasoning. If you want less, feel free to use less. If you're just looking for salt and pepper, add just salt and pepper. In my experience, you're inevitably going to lose some of your interior goodness. It's just the nature of the beast. You could stick a toothpick in there and maybe try and hold it together. That might work. But like I said, in my experience, you're probably going to lose some of it. Boom. Those look pretty good to me. So what I think the game plan for me is to put these into the fridge while I get my smoker up to temp. I'm going to put these suckers on at about 225, and we are just going to cook them until completion. If you have olive oil spray it on there, that might help a little bit. It's not necessary, but I probably will go that route just to get the bread to crisp up a little bit more. But like I said, definitely not necessary. And I will see you guys out at the smoker. 225 degrees later, and we have our chicken on the top rack. I'm just gonna let them run till about 160. With carryover, that'll get me to 165. This is breast meat, obviously, so it can't go as long as a thigh, which is why I usually cook thighs. But it looks pretty good. If you want to sprinkle some more of your seasoning on, be my guest. And yeah, this is my first time using this new outdoor light setup because in New England, it gets dark early, which is annoying. But let's let this sucker do its thing. All right, so these have just come off the smoker, and I'll be honest, they were going pretty slow, so I pulled them off around 155, but they were sitting in that range for a couple of minutes, which food safety, they're good to go. So I feel like we need to look at what the insides of these look like. Let's just take one of them, give them a nice cut in half, and I'll show you guys. So here's our cross section. Looking really good. You can see that spinach and that cheese. Oof. And the chicken looks perfect. Still juicy, nice and perfect. Now these chicken breasts took a little over an hour to cook. I did them at 225 and then bumped them up towards the end just to make them cook faster. But you could have done the whole thing at 180. You could do the whole thing at 275. The lower and slower on a pellet smoker, the more smoke you're gonna get. But in reality, we just wanted to get the chicken to a point where it's still gonna be juicy and cooked all the way through. Without further ado, it's time to give it the old-fashioned chomp. This one looks perfect. You know, it has been a while since I've done a chicken breast, and I don't know if I've done chicken breasts on this channel really at all. Usually I like to go with the thighs because you can let them get a little bit longer, they stay juicier, they're easier to do barbecue for low and slow cooks. But I'm telling you, this mixture right here is pretty great. Having that barbecue rub on our breaded chicken, and then adding in some of that garlic, cheddar, and some of that spinach, really comes together for some really good flavors. Guys, stuffed chicken breast should definitely be on your list of things to cook. It's really not that difficult, and the results are always great. You can mix it up, you can change the spinach for all kinds of different vegetables, different types of cheeses, whatever you want. It's a blank canvas, but this is the way that I want to do it tonight, and I hope you guys give it a try. If you do, let me know down below how you thought it came out, and if you do anything differently. As always, guys, cook something fantastic, and I will see you on the next cook.